Welcome to this week's episode of the Overflow Podcast. Hey, today we're talking Super Bowl. We're talking new movie trailers. We are talking other stuff. All kinds of stuff we're talking. And today's topic is suicide. So with all that being said, my name is Joaquin.
I'm Jay.
And this is, once again, the Overflow Podcast at thisisoutcry.com. A lot of exciting stuff has been happening this week, or maybe I say this weekend, more so than this week. But as always, what up, Jay?
What up, though?
What up, Jay? Where's Jay at? So what's up, man? What's been going on with you this week? Anything hype? Nothing.
Well, something, but we can get into that at the discussion later.
All right.
But nothing. It's been
just chill week. Nothing exciting.
Been chill.
Everything good. Everything good. Yeah, it's been an all right week. But we're super excited. So we're gonna I'm gonna start off with this. So we have changed hosting services for the podcast. We were on SoundCloud. Now we've moved. Well, we're gonna be on SoundCloud for the next month through the 25th, I think it is.
Correct.
But we've also switched the podcast over to a new hosting site, Pippa, Pippa. And it was funny because they reached out to us on an email. It was like a cold call. It's basically what it was.
Yeah, basically.
And so
we both thought it was a scam.
Yeah, we thought it was like a scam you, but then I started looking at it and I was like, oh, wait a minute. It's cheaper. They transferred all our podcasts over.
Yep.
They got a couple little features that we're going to be playing with in the next coming week that we're kind of excited about. We're not going to mention those yet.
Yep.
And it's a much cleaner interface. So if you go to the website, thisisoutcry.com, the link's already there for Pippa. Man, when it switches over, it is such a clean looking site, much cleaner than SoundCloud. It doesn't, it's not so busy. SoundCloud had all kinds of you can follow these people and all kinds of stuff
and all the names.
Yeah,
and
this
stuff,
is just boom, it's right there. But have no fear, because we're still gonna even though we're gonna cancel our SoundCloud account, we're still gonna be posting up every episode will still be posted up on SoundCloud. So at least the newest episode will still be on SoundCloud, but everything else will be over on Pippa. We're still on iTunes. We're still on Google. I'm just waiting for Google to reply back to say that they've switched everything over. We're still on Stitcher, and we put in an application for iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio, yeah,
which is
should be exciting.
Which is cool if they accept it. 'Cause I didn't even know iHeartRadio did
podcast.
So
yeah, we talked about that.
That's very, 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 very dope. We looked at Spotify because we think that'd be super cool, but the way it looks, we're not at that level. We're just not at that level. Maybe one day we will. Maybe I should email them and be like, what's the number of people listening a month that do you need so that we could get on Spotify? So we're really excited about that switch to Pippa. Very, very, very cool. So you go to thisisoutcry.com.
All the Bibles, I picked the wrong one.
Which one did you pick?
The 1 year.
Oh, and it says it right on the spine.
I was reading for.
Way to
I was reading the.
Way to go, Jay.
I was reading the translation.
Thisisoutcry.com. The link is there. You can RSS feed there. And even going to that site, it'll even send you over to Google and iTunes to be able to sign up for the podcast there. So with that little bit of advertisement in play, so listen, we gotta touch on this just because it just happened tonight as we record this. The Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. They beat the New England Patriots.
Woo woo!
And
it's funny because we are neither of us are Eagles fans, but
or Patriot fans for that matter.
Or Patriot fans, but we both don't like the Patriots.
Right,
equally.
we both wanted the Eagles to win, and they did. I was such a it was one of those things where I was hoping for a good game, but you always have that fear that it's just going to end up being a blowout.
Yeah, especially when the Patriots are involved.
Because
You gotta give credit.
Yeah, because they're such a good. They just find a way to win. And I'm gonna tell you what, that game came down to the wire. Such a good game, so exciting, so happy for our Philadelphia peoples. First Super Bowl in Eagles history. That's what's the word I'm looking for? Awesome. We even saw on Instagram Will Smith, who's Philadelphia born and raised. Because he spent a lot of his time on the playgrounds.
Yeah, he spent most of his days there, right?
Yeah. And he was going buck wild. He was just super excited because that's his home team. So and shout out to Jafia Life because he's a Philadelphia boy. He might don't listen to us, but if you do, Jafia, way to go, man.
We didn't keep the TV on to see if the old Eagles player, the one that they showed that he was 99 years old, to see what his response or reaction was.
I was afraid of that because I had a feeling like he's 99. And it was a down to the wire game. His heart must have been just, people might have been worried. And what was I going to say? I lost my train of thoughts. So Philadelphia people, yay. The old man. The halftime show was really good. JT did his thing. It was funny because it wasn't, like last year, Lady Gaga, she like dove off the stadium and like zip line.
They did
all
that
the way
whole
down
thing in the beginning.
So it didn't have all that craziness. It was just him. Man, he had a full band. And it was just him performing, dancing, and singing, and halfway through, and then they finished with the Troll song.
Yeah,
the song from Trolls. Yeah, you gotta find it. I'm sure it's on YouTube by now. If not, definitely tomorrow morning, and watch it. It was really good, and I just kept thinking, Justin Timberlake and Bruno Mars need to do a collaboration because I think it would be amazing. It would be it would be so phenomenal. So fellas, I know you're not listening to us, but you should do that. I'm sending those vibes out. I'm sending those vibes, as Oprah would say, I'm sending those vibes out into the universe.
You're so dumb.
Oprah probably will catch us. She probably has something that scans for her name.
Probably.
Or the secret told her. The secret snitched on us. It's not a secret no more.
The worst secret keeper ever. Today before that, sorry, I should have mentioned this in the.
When I asked you about
Bean's birthday, like
Bean's birthday,
I was gonna say we cut a cake, but it was more like
it was a cupcake and then an ice cream cake.
Now he
had two cakes.
He helped,
which is what I said would happen.
Yeah, you did say that, right? He helped Magda make cupcakes. Like it was supposed to be Mickey Mouse cupcakes, but
he wanted green.
Yeah, he found the green food coloring, and he was just set on like making green cupcakes. So, yeah, that happened. But it was cool. He was excited. As soon as we put the hats out, he started giving everybody color coordinated hats.
Yes,
right.
He made Jae and Junie wear green.
Wear green.
A green.
Green. And you and
me and him had
blue. Right. And Magda had yellow. But and he started singing happy birthday to me.
Yeah, he goes happy birthday to me. Yeah,
which is funny because like the day of his birthday and whatever, he would say happy birthday to Sebastian, right? He would say his name. And today, like the first time I hear him say happy birthday to me, it bugged me out.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah, that was awesome. He was wearing the Georgia Bulldogs outfit you bought.
Yeah, that I got him. Yeah, because no, it wasn't years ago.
It was years ago.
It was like
2 years ago.
I don't think it was that.
Yeah,
long.
he was still like super small. Like, why are you buying this? It's so big.
I don't think it was too. But anyway, the point is he wore it. It was awesome. I got him. He's so funny. I got him a Dr. Seuss book, The Cat in the Hat. And he was like, ah. Then I got him, but he wasn't too excited about it. You're going to learn to read. And then I got him the little T-shirt that has a Ninja Turtle. So he saw that. He was like, a turtle. He knew exactly what it was. And it's a play on the Jaws poster.
I did a good job of teaching my son you know who the
The
Ninja
good
Turtles
things,
are.
the Ninja Turtles,
right?
yes,
Justice
yes.
League,
Justice League,
Like,
yes,
like I
yes.
told you today,
Batman,
he
Superman.
prays for the Justice League every night.
Every
Every night he's like, cuida mami, cuida papi, and he has a list, cuida tío, and I'm like, which tío? Tío Quinito or Tío Juice? And he's like, Tío Juice. And then he comes back, cuida papi, cuida Juni, cuida tío. Which tío? Tío Quinito or Tío Juice? Tío Quinito. Oh, okay. And then he'll go down, cuida Superman, cuida Batman, cuida Flash, cuida Cyborg. Like, he won't say amen without praying for the Justice
praying
League.
for the Justice League. Forget everybody else. Gotta pray for the Justice League. Those guys are out saving the world,
That's right. That's right. Nobody else prays for them.
fighting the same villains, same storylines. Oh yeah, so that was awesome. That was a lot of fun with him. He's a little character, to say the least. But so Super Bowl, great game, which is what you would hope for. And then the commercials. The commercials were all right this year. My two favorite commercials though, was the
running commercial,
the running tide commercial,
the running tide commercial,
which was the first one. I was like, oh, that's funny, but then as it kept going, I was like, and then you like by the second, like the third one, I picked up what they were doing. And if you haven't seen them, you need to go online, look up for the Super Bowl Tide commercials, and hopefully find someone that's already put them all together, so you can watch them back, because they start off as a different commercial.
It's almost
like a parody.
Like a parody. That's a better word. A parody on other established commercials.
Yes,
and that were that debuted during a Super Bowl, right? Because that Mr. Clean one was a Super Bowl commercial for Mr. Clean.
Oh, okay.
Which got a lot of controversy, because it was like, oh, they got Mr. Clean shaking his butt, and they sexualized Mr. Clean.
Right.
Like, come on, get over yourself. But yeah, there was Super Bowl commercials, so that was pretty dope.
No, actually, you know what? I gotta say, there's three. There's three that I really like. I now that I'm thinking, so there's the Eminem commercial.
Yeah, I didn't get to see.
Which you need to catch. It's hilarious. Is the red Eminem says he wants to be, finds a penny, like a lucky penny. He makes a wish. I wish to be human, and he turns into Danny DeVito. It's freaking hilarious. Then there's the Tide commercials that were all together. Just hilarious because
to the very end.
Because it starts off as you had one that you were like, oh, it's gonna be a beer commercial, and he goes, it's clean, it's because it's Tide. Everything that was clean because it's Tide. And then the Alexa commercial. The Alexa commercials were freaking phenomenal. They were so funny because it was like laugh out loud funny.
That's right. I forgot about
that. Was so great about those commercials that it's like, what if these stars, these different people were the voices of Alexa, and like their personality was Alexa. So you had like Gordon Ramsay, this guy asking for a grilled cheese sandwich, and he's like cursing him out. It's like the recipes in the name of the sandwich.
Well, the funny thing, or the interesting thing, is what I told you, that that the commercials this season, or this year, like they purposely made the effort of being funny again, because of last year. Last year, they were either depressing or they were political. Right. Like every single one is like political. It's like, come on.
Yeah, the most political commercial this year was the company that's always political, seems like. Always has some kind of angle, and that was Coca-Cola's commercial.
Okay. We're on the same page there, because I was like,
oh.
The Coke commercial.
I was like, oh, okay, come on, Coke.
Do better, Coke.
You have all that money, and that's what you give us. At least play the old, give the world to sing one.
And the thing with Coke, right, is that Coke is the most recognized brand in the world.
Correct.
Right? So there's no risk. Yeah, you're not going to make a bad commercial and lose people from buying your product, right? Come on. Stop it. I'm going to go down to their offices and see who's in charge of that, and like smack them in the hand.
And go across the street. I don't appreciate. I'm going to go stand in front of the Coke Museum. I don't appreciate. Can I get a ticket? I want to go in and get the drinks, but stop.
Like a little kid. Stop it right now. Stop it.
It's like I had a friend who had their kid. They were against spanking or whatever. But they're one day they had invited some teachers over for dinner. We're having dinner, and all of a sudden we hear, I think the baby's name was Colton. It was like, no, Colton, no. And the mom goes, oh, and got up. It went running because he gets told, no, Colton, no, don't touch that, right? No.
Yeah.
So right before he touches something, I guess maybe he thinks he figures I shouldn't really be touching this. He will tell himself no.
Oh, okay.
No, Colton, no. They're like, oh, we gotta go see what he's up to. Give himself away.
So there are kids that people that are against spanking their kids, but then they'll like scream at them at the top of their lungs and curse them out.
Because that's objectively better. Then the other thing with Super Bowl, you always get new trailers, and so obviously y'all know me and Jay. We love movies. We love trailers. Listen, the trailers were overall for me great. We got great trailers. We got action trailers. They did a trailer for The Rock's new movie. I forgot to tell you.
The movie group, the movie chat group that I'm a part of, somebody. I gotta watch it because somebody wrote, "Yo, The Rock made a remake of Die Hard."
That's what I thought too. I was like, "This is like Die Hard," but he's disabled in the movie. He's he's a guy that lost a leg. So I don't know if he was like a military guy or
The Rock is like the hardest working man in Hollywood right now.
Dude, listen, he made this movie. I had heard that I saw a picture that he had posted like on Instagram. It was like, oh, me and this director working on concepts for this movie, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, so I guess it's something they'll be filming. And it's like the trailer's out. And I'm like, when did he film this movie?
You heard about Jumanji, right? And Jumanji came out, and Rampage, right?
Rampage,
we talked about it last week, right? And this skyscraper,
movie,
right? Like
it came out of
this
nowhere.
Mysterious movie.
I'll go watch it because it's a Rock film, right? He's pretty much like he's got me. Like he's like the
hardest working man in Hollywood. He's the hardest working man in Hollywood.
Take my movie pass.
And now that he has his own production company, right? It's like he's
nonstop movies, and he's got that show on HBO. And then he's all over the place.
Yo, talking about The Rock,
he's my hero.
Magda and I last night we watched Baywatch.
Okay,
right? Because we just wanted to watch
just something silly,
right?
And that's a silly movie.
Non-stop laughing, from beginning to end.
I liked it,
right? Like it was like we liked it too. It was like,
but I'm dumb, so I like those kinds of movies.
It was like I want to throw on something that we don't have to think too much, or just something to end the night and then just go to bed, right? Non-stop laughs. Like we could not stop laughing. And it's not like little pockets of laughter. It's like from the beginning of the movie all the way to the end.
I thought it was a funny movie. I liked it.
And it made me realize that I had never seen a single episode of Baywatch before.
Yeah, me neither. I never saw it.
Like I'm asking questions. I'm like,
I saw more.
Like, why are The Rock and David Hasselhoff why do they have the same name? That's like stupid. And Michael's like, that was his character's name on the show. Like, okay. I didn't know that. I've never seen an episode of Baywatch.
I've seen more episodes of Baywatch on Friends than I actually did the actual show.
That's right.
But
that's right.
Yeah, so we had The Rock's new movie, Skyscraper movie.
I have to check that out.
Which was dope. I liked it. It was just, whatever. I liked it. I don't care what people say.
But come on. The Rock doesn't make a bad movie.
They're at least entertaining, even if they're quote unquote bad.
Right?
At least they're entertaining.
He doesn't make a bad movie. I'm trying to think of a movie.
I will admit, I haven't seen. I never saw San Andreas, and I need to watch it.
I saw San Andreas, and it was a good movie. Right? It wasn't like an Oscar worthy whatever, right?
Well, he's not making those movies.
But let's be honest.
Not yet.
Let's be honest, right? Like us, we don't watch movies for their Oscar worthiness, right? We watch movies as an escape, to be entertained, right?
Like
that's it.
Listen.
Like Adam Sandler. I love Adam Sandler movies.
Dude, he's got a new one coming out with Chris Rock.
I saw that. It was
where they're it's like
Netflix movie.
It's like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, I guess, like that kind of like the black family, white family getting married. Their kids are getting married. That kind of thing. So you know what? I'm in.
Yeah.
Chris Rock, Adam Sandler.
Forget about it.
I'm in. I don't need to know anything else. It could be them just riding around in a car, riffing on each other, and I'm in. right? Like I don't.
But I don't think.
Listen, you know what I watched last night?
What's up?
I watched Kickboxer, the newest one.
Oh yeah, I
the
check that
one
out
that Angel sent us.
Yeah.
Vendetta or whatever it is. And you know what? The acting was what it was.
I mean,
but it was I liked it. It was a great B flick action movie.
But it had good action, good
fights,
fighting, right?
The fights were good.
That's with Scott Adkins, right?
No, it's not with Scott Adkins. He's
Oh.
not in the movie.
Okay.
The fights were good.
I thought that's why Angel sent it to us.
It had Mike Tyson in it. And
Get
like
outta here.
in his scene where he fights the dude was good. Like
Seriously?
he whooped up on that dude. Yeah, it was like I'm
man.
watching it and I'm like, yo, I'm really enjoyed this. Like
I'll check it out
you
tomorrow.
know, like I said, the movie was like some of the way they put it together, like plot wise and whatever, was a little off sometimes. It seemed a little like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here now? But the fights, which is where you watch it, the fights were good. I was like, yo.
You don't watch a movie like Kickboxer?
Especially
story.
Kickboxer number like 6, is it, or whatever it is? Yeah, it was good.
To be moved by
So
a
listen,
story.
if you like be like those, you know, B action type flips, look up the new Kickboxer movie. It was so much fun to watch.
A favorite trailer.
All right, so
that
the
debuted.
So the movie trailers. So they debuted a teaser for the Han Solo movie.
Which I'm excited to see the actual trailer.
I'm intrigued to see what the trailer's gonna be on Monday. For me, more than for Jay, they released a new trailer for Jurassic World.
Right, because I didn't like the reboot.
And I'm excited because I like the reboot, and so it looked like they were going to continue with that crazy fun aspect of it. They released the trailer for. They released another Avengers trailer,
Right,
and it was actually a really cool one because they showed kind of all the heroes.
Was that a teaser, or was that like an actual trailer?
I would consider, I would consider more of like a teaser because you know they're gearing. I mean, they're.
I don't know what happened to my voice there, but
I don't either. You kind of went out there. I got a lower mine. We just goes up. You tend to have the deeper voice. I have the kind of the higher pitch, so I'm gonna be lower mine.
Okay.
So it's more like a teaser because you know we got in 2 weeks, not this week but the next week.
Right.
We got Black Panther, which I'm hyped about. I'm gonna watch it after work. Like I'm gonna get off of work, go watch it. And since we don't do the podcast on Thursdays anymore, I'm gonna go watch it on Thursday.
But we're watching it that Monday.
Oh, we are.
Yes.
We're gonna try to watch it that Monday.
No, we're watching that Monday.
I'm undersold. I am underwhelmed. We'll see.
Well, I'm watching it that Monday.
All right, listen.
If you're not watching it with me, I'm watching it that
Listen,
Monday.
it doesn't matter if we watch it that Monday. I will go back and watch it on Thursday. Like, who are you talking to here?
Yeah, but the Monday invite is with the Q&A.
Right. With the PA, the production assistant that's going to be there to answer questions. So how was it like running and getting the coffee for the actors? It was so much fun.
I mean, it was filmed here.
A lot of it was
filmed here.
So anyway, so the Avengers, and then the trailer to the movie that ruined Justice League.
Or the reshoots, right? Because wasn't it the reshoots?
It ruined the reshoots. The Mission Impossible trailer. Well, actually, it was a teaser that dropped.
That was the teaser?
That was a teaser that dropped during the Super Bowl. And then the actual trailer was released online. And we saw the teaser, then we saw the actual trailer.
Phenomenal.
As a Valley girl would say.
I'm using that word.
MJ. It was like amazing. Yo, it was.
You do that too well.
It was. I'm so excited for it.
It was phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
It made me want to go back. It made me want to go watch the last two. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it made me want to go, like, I want to watch them again.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
Like, I just can't.
Dope. We watched it twice, back to back.
Yeah, we watched it back to back. Right?
Yeah.
Because we had to catch everything.
Yeah, it was.
And, like, Tom Cruise.
Sick.
Dude,
Sick.
Tom Cruise.
Listen, man. I don't care.
Old.
I don't care what
right?
Scientology is.
Those aliens
it's keeping
are
him young. Scientology keeping that dude young. He's like 54, 55. And he's still doing his own stunts.
And
matter of fact, there's a video online.
And the stunts and the Mission Impossible movies are like over the top.
Like they're getting crazier and crazier.
Oh, my goodness.
Especially over the last two, like just crazier.
And Henry Cavill, right? That fight scene. There's this fight scene where it's like
we couldn't tell if it's him and Tom Cruise's character, Ethan Hawke,
fighting each other,
a guy, or all three, or
it looked like they're fighting together.
But it was
Yo. So that's the trailer that we're gonna put on the website.
Yes, we're putting up the Mission Impossible trailer. You need to watch it. Oh, so awesome! I'm punching in the air. So awesome. And that's another movie that I'll be getting out of work on Friday. I'm gonna go watch it.
I think this summer is gonna be a good movie summer.
Yes.
So I just might jump on the Movie Pass bandwagon.
Yo, let me tell you something. It's like, Movie Pass, they don't pay us nothing.
Dude,
I pay them.
Kevin McNeese.
He does it
New
too,
Release
man.
Today.
Kevin, $9.99 a month.
Yeah, he got it also.
You can watch one movie a day. And you're not going to watch one movie a day because there's not that many movies. I mean, right now, like these last 2 weeks, I really haven't seen anything because there's just nothing been in the theaters that has been
right now, in the beginning of the year, there's always that lull.
The last movie I saw last week was Hostile, which was the cowboy movie with Batman.
Okay.
That was really good. Christian Bale.
Cowboy Batman.
It was really good. But I was thinking about going to movies yesterday. I'm looking and I'm like, There's a couple of good movies, with Oscar nominations, but I'm like, So I'm super excited because I love going to the movies. So I'll be working out, going to a movie, working out, go see a movie.
And
because tomorrow
it's going to start with it starts with Black Panther, right?
Yes, I think it does. Yes. So, I'm so excited. So we got all that, and then we definitely want to talk about these two things when we combine them. So there's a trailer out for a movie called Paul with Caviezel, or as Jesus.
Right. And he plays Luke.
Which is, as we know, you might know, or if you don't know him, now you know. He's the one that wrote the Gospel of Luke and Acts.
And the Book of Acts.
And so it looks like he's writing, it looks like he's interviewing Paul to write Acts. That's kind of the feeling that you get from the movie. And Paul's in jail. He's in Rome. He's locked up. And it's cool because it almost looks like you're going to see Paul wrestling with some doubts or wrestling with something. It actually looks really good. I'm super hyped about it.
Paul's in jail, and he also interviews the jailer, which is Olivier Martinez's character.
And
it looks really good.
And you know who made it? It's the same people that made War Room and Risen, I believe. Was Risen made by the same people that made the War Room?
No, War Room is the brothers.
I think it's made by them.
That did Courageous.
Yeah, I think it's made by them. I think.
That's a big step up.
I think. I could be completely wrong. I might be conflating two different things. Or it might be that I read somewhere that they were saying like this movie is coming out in line of these well-produced Christian movies like Risen, because War Room was really well done.
I haven't seen it.
And so and obviously so was Risen. I think we went.
Yeah,
did we go see it in the movies?
Yeah, we did. And then I took the youth group.
That's right. So, like those were Christian cinema or Christian movies or Christian based films, like faith based films. I don't know what the term to use so people don't get mad. So we'll just say Christian based movies. Like they've gotten so good over the last years, and so super excited about that movie. And then in that same vein, Mel Gibson has confirmed it. They're in talks. They're talks with Caviezel to bring him back as Jesus for a sequel, the sequel to Passion of the Christ,
which is
gonna. I don't think there's a name for it yet.
I'm saying that which is gonna be based on the
be,
resurrection and what happened afterwards.
It's gonna be Passion of the Christ 2, Judgment Day.
Tagline: There will be hell to pay.
There will be hell to. No, it'll be like, or what is it? Passion of the Christ 2, Resurrection Day. Actually, that works better. Resurrection Day. So they're bringing it back, but it's going to take place. It's like right after the end of Passion, right? Because at the end of Passion, you see where he steps. Like you don't see him, but you see where he's like it opens up. You see the light,
show the hole in the hand.
Like he's gonna step out. So it's gonna take that part where he appears to the disciples. It'll probably run up through the ascension. Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
So,
like Risen.
Yes. So, so super excited about that. That is going to be.
I can't see anything on IMDb about.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. I could, because I did read something earlier, and maybe I might have confused.
But it's like they don't have anything at all
for Paul.
No, they have it, but they don't have anything at all as far as like
any
production company. Or whatever.
Oh yeah, so I could have conflated it with something else. But the point is, if you haven't seen War Room, it was very well done. Risen, very well done. You should watch them both, and then be on the lookout for Paul. I'm excited. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's coming out this year, and yeah, I'm excited for the sequel to The Passion.
Yeah,
I'm
so
excited.
that's probably in another 2 years. I would think, because Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson will do.
He's got the guy writing it already. So there's somebody writing the movie, but Mel Gibson was like, there's. Because I saw him on an interview. I think it was on the Colbert Show where he was talking about,
about hell. Like he mentioned that in the Colbert interview. I saw.
No, he wasn't talking about that. He was just talking about the making of this movie, how they want the bar high. They don't, and there's things that they want to do to tell the story that they've got to figure out how they're going to do. They don't want to just throw something out there just to do a sequel. They want to do the sequel, but they want to make it good, a good movie. And I think part of that might have been when you're talking about, do we show Jesus in hell? Like, do we, that was the kind of like, what are we going to actually put together?
Like, how do you handle the ascension without making it look cheesy?
Right. You have him do like Superman where he puts his hand up.
Because he was taken away in a cloud, right? So anyway, whatever.
So like a hovercraft.
I just don't want it to look like Goku on Nimbus.
I have no idea what you're talking about. And nobody else does
Dragon
either.
Ball Z. Trust me, it's a Dragon Ball Z reference.
They know. So, yeah. So that's this, and that's what we got. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the song for today. So new release today, as always. That's your newreleasetoday.com. It's your location for all things Christian music. And for they always put out the new music for the week. And this is a band that was there. We always like to listen to kind of some of the new artists and kind of figure out which ones we like. And I like this group. And I actually like the song that we're going to be playing off of them because I think it fits. It dovetails in very nicely with today's topic.
Correct.
So just to, like I said, never heard of this group. This is their first release, EQ Worship. And even on the little page info here, it says, EQ Worship's debut album, Push Out the Dark, attempts to bridge the gap between different denominations and age demographic through doctrinally sound yet spirit-led worship, born out of their own desires to see God's light, to push out the darkness in their own city. EQ seeks to build up the kingdom of God by equipping worshipers to seek Jesus in spirit and truth. Dope. So this is the song. It's called I Can Rely On, featuring Brendan B. It's a live recording, EQ Worship. And it'll be starting now.
Burdens my understanding. The mountains climb. It's like the ground beneath is crumbling. And it feels I can't hold on. My soul longs for all to be much clearer. But the dust of doubt doesn't seem to hear me. When all my will is gone, when I feel I can't hold on, I can rely on you. I can rely on, I can rely on, I can rely on the strength of your hand. it holds on. My life is yours. Lord, have your way in me. Yes, lead me on to the freedom of your victory. You won the battle of flesh and blood, so with the war inside, I can rely on you. I can rely on. I can rely on. I can rely on the strength of your hand. I can depend on. I can depend on you. 'Cause the strength of your hand holds on. Though I stumble again and again, you never let go. You never let go. You are faithful from beginning to end. You never let go. You never let go. Though I stumble again and again, you never let go. You never let go. You are faithful from beginning to end. You never let go. And I can rely on you. I can rely on. I can rely on. I can rely on the strength of your hand. I can depend on. I can depend on you. 'Cause the strength of your hand holds on. Yes, Lord, the strength of your hand. Yes, the strength of your hand holds on.
And that is I Can Rely On by EQ Worship. And
Apparently, they just dropped their first album, right? 4 days ago. So they are brand new.
yeah, so our first time hearing them, your first time hearing them. And so I picked this song, or this song was chosen because I thought especially the first two verses really kind of give a picture of the topic that Jae, or I should say Pastor Jae. When we get to this half of the podcast, it's Pastor Jae. That on the front half is just Jae. Now it's Pastor Jae. That Pastor Jae, he hit me up today and he was like, "Hey,
it's always Pastor Jae.
oh, excuse me, perdóname, papi, I did not know that." So
Que eso de papi no es papi, con papi, con respeto.
con
¿oíste?
respeto.
Con
Excuse me, papi pastor.
Better put some respect on that pastor. No, go ahead. Sorry.
So Jay had hit me up and he said, hey, I want to talk about suicide. And so before, so I'm just going to read these first two verses because I want to make sure that we kind of grasp them as we lead into this. And so this is the first two verses. It goes, "The war inside burdens my understanding, and the mountains climb is like the ground beneath is crushing. It feels I can't hold. My soul longs for all to be much clearer, but the dust of doubt doesn't seem to fear me. When all of my will is gone, when I feel I can't hold on, it ends with, I can rely on you." And so then that's the chorus. I can rely on you, or excuse me, I can rely on the strength of your hand. I can depend on you, because the strength of your hand holds on. So it starts. It's very psalm-like. This song,
like a psalm.
This song, the way it starts, and it's this idea of kind of despair, right? That's kind of how the song sounds. Like, listen, the feels like the world's crumbling around me. And so we chose this because the underlying hope at the end of that, because that leads us into this topic of suicide.
Right.
So, Jay, take it away.
Yeah. So, and and this isn't a topic that that we discussed earlier. Like, we're writing out the topics that we'll be discussing on the show. And this was
for the year, yeah.
And this wasn't one of them,
Nope.
right? Because, and I'm glad that it is, right? I'm so happy that I can go to Joaquin and say, "Yo, we need to talk about suicide." And it's not like, "No, it's too dark." No, it's like, "Yep, let's go, let's do it," right? Because it's a discussion. It's a topic that needs discussion, right? It needs discussion in the church. And
Right.
I want to go real quick and clarify why. It's not because I just picked something out of the blue, but this thing of suicide and teen suicide in particular or preteen suicide is what brought this on, because a couple of months ago, someone directly connected to me, one of my mentors in this whole church planting thing, and a kid that I know, a friend of his committed suicide, right? Someone directly connected to this kid, and it messed him up. Like, it messed him up. Like, I pray for this kid every day, and I speak to his grandfather. That's who I'm connected to, and every day it's something new. It's something new, really praying for the healing, full healing, mind, body, soul, spirit, everything, but because it's just a messed up thing, and
Right.
and it affects everybody around, right, or everybody connected to the person that kills himself, and it affects them differently, right? But most recently, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. Could have even been Friday. I don't even remember. But like, someone else that's connected to my wife and I, a kid in her daughter's grade, an 11-year-old boy, just this week committed suicide.
Right.
And not too long ago, this is the bad thing of working for the news, but not too long ago, right, there was a story of an 8-year-old girl who was being bullied in school,
Right.
who also hung herself, right? So it's something that
Right. It's something that's going on. It's unfortunately, and this is this is where I do what I do. It's not just teens. It's
Right.
this. I think they said suicide was like the number 4. I can't remember the site that I had, but it was like the number, the number 4 killer of people in the States. It's like, suicide's like number 4, or it's climbing the charts, kind of a thing.
actually the 10th.
I know one thing I thought was 4. So
No, it's 4 now. It was the 10th in 2015.
Right, and it's the 4th now. And so, unfortunately, the problem with working in the news is, and listen, and I hear a lot of those stories too, and I don't work in the news. I have the news on 8 hours that I'm at work. Is that those are the ones that kind of draw eyes. When it's a kid, that draws attention.
Yes.
But we need to realize that it's not just kids. I mean, we have grown adults, women. More women attempt suicide than men, but more men, actually are able. It sounds terrible the way I'm going to say it, but more men actually kill themselves in their attempts. Whereas I think they said it's double the amount of men that commit suicide. Women attempt it more, but they don't succeed.
Correct.
It's a terrible way of saying it, but they don't succeed.
I mean,
but men do, and then men are dying in and then once you start breaking it down, like middle-aged white guys are like just dying in record. They're killing themselves in record numbers, due to all kinds of things. And my grandfather, and I don't know, I think I've mentioned this before.
Yeah.
My grandfather committed suicide, and I didn't even know about it until I was like 14 years old, I think. And he killed himself when I was like, I want to say like 7 or 8. And he hung himself. And actually, my sister actually saw him. She was like 4 or 5 years old, and she went in and she saw him hanging. Walked in with my grandmother because she didn't know he hung himself, and he had this little workroom in their house. They lived, probably less than a block, I would say, from our house when we moved to Georgia. They moved and that was the mess. And here's the thing about suicide, right? It messes, like Jay just said, it messes up the whole the circle of the person that's connected to the person that killed themselves. My grandparents moved to Georgia so they could be close to us, and my grandfather kills himself.
Right.
What a jerk. Should have stayed in Florida, just far away, and that way they wouldn't have messed up my sister, because it really messed her up for a while. Why you shake your head? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm gonna speak about it like that because that's how I feel. Don't move here to be with me and then kill yourself. That's just bogus, man. It's messed up. But the biggest thing is,
but the thing though, the takeaway, especially since that's your takeaway, right? Because like I had an uncle who killed himself like the week of Thanksgiving.
Right.
Right. And like it angered me.
Right.
Like it angered me. Like for a long time I was angry. He's such a coward, he's whatever, right? But we don't know.
Right.
We don't know what that person is struggling with that brings them to the desperation of feeling that the only way out of their depression or their mental anguish or whatever it is that they're going through, right? Is death.
Is death, right? And I said, listen, and I, if you don't know me by now, you will never ever know me. But the thing is, so I deal with things in a humorous way. That's how I deal with stuff like the heavy things, right? The same way I was angry. Like I said, I was angry. However many years later, because I didn't know. That's what I'm saying. It's like I didn't get to process his suicide until I was like 14 years old. He killed himself when I was 8, and they didn't tell anybody. They didn't tell none of us because they didn't want the grandkids to know. They didn't want, and it was like the secret. Right,
which is a horrible way of going about it. Right? It's an
understandable way because it was a bunch of. I mean, remember, all the grandkids were young, so it's understandable because you figure out how is a kid going to grasp the idea that your grandfather killed himself. So I didn't get a chance to process my anger and my feelings about him killing himself till I was like 14, 15, 16. I mean, it actually, maybe 5 years ago is when I finally was able to kind of come to grips and and grasp.
I remember having these conversations.
And grasp that. I mean, I went to counseling, which is one thing we were talking about. I went to counseling when I was finally able to kind of even deal with some of that, some of that fallout.
Right. And the thing is that and this isn't like most of the times when we have this part of the podcast, we have something written that we go by, right? But this is just free form conversation because it's not something that you can actually like script or write down, right? Because I mean,
but we do have some points that we
we do have points. There'll always be
have points,
right? But and we're gonna get into it a little bit right now because the more I thought of it, right? Like I don't the kid that committed suicide this week, like I know nothing about him, right? Nothing at all,
right?
But the little girl who knew him is connected personally to me, right?
Okay.
Like I know her, and I know that it's affecting her,
correct?
Right, and she is only 11 years old, right? So like, and what I was telling Joaquin was that, you know, and it shouldn't be this way, but this is how we process things, right? It's a sad turn of events, right? It's damaging, and like I said before, it affects everybody that's connected or everybody around them. But when it's an adult, right? When it's a grown man, the way you process it, or the way you think about it, the way you react and respond to it is differently than you would when it's an 8-year-old.
Depending on your connection to the adult.
Exactly, right? Because like with my uncle, but with but on my mentor's grandson, right? They're a Christian family, right? It's a Christian home, and my thoughts, and again, as a pastor, my thoughts are, well, and I'm not saying that their church did or didn't do anything, but I am asking those questions, right? What's the church's responsibility when it's a believer that commits suicide, right? Or when it's a believer that is affected by suicide, right? Like, how does the church respond? How does the church react? What is our responsibility as believers, right? As a church body and as the church, as the institution, right? Because I remember last year, of course, because, this is 2 years, but last year, I'm trying to remember his name, but the DJ who also committed suicide, there was a lot of talk about it, right?
Oh, I can't remember.
Because I can't remember either, but I know that if we look through the archive of podcasts, we'll find it. But right, it's a big thing, and this is where Joaquin and I differentiate. But I grew up, in the Spanish church, Pentecostal church, and I always used to tell Mom this, and she would always get mad at me. But I would always tell her, the problem that I'm having with our church, right? Because it was like our church specifically, is that I still see like a lot of Catholicism in it. Right. It's like Catholicism and superstition is still wrapped up in it, right? And and I bring that up now because like I grew up being told that suicide was like the ultimate sin. Like a person that commits suicide goes straight to hell. Right. And
a mortal sin.
Right. And that's like that's a very Catholic belief.
Yes.
Right. And it's not biblical. It's not scriptural. And I know, right? I know. And maybe not so much. I don't know for a fact if this is like taught or spoken of in non-Spanish churches, right? But I know that in most Spanish churches, it's something that is taught as law, right?
Correct.
It's law. Like you can't commit suicide because if you commit suicide, you go straight to hell. Yeah. And hand in hand with that,
and I've heard that from Spanish people, right? Growing up, because I grew up in American churches. I grew up in Baptist churches, whatever. And I don't ever remember that I can remember. I don't ever remember the topic of suicide being a, if you kill yourself, that's it. You punched your ticket straight to hell. It was. But then again, I also say that saying that I cannot. And maybe they talked about it, but I don't remember much talk of suicide unless unless some kid killed themselves,
right?
Or you heard, for youth group stuff, right? If some kid killed himself, then you talked about it. But if not, I can honestly say that I don't remember any kid killing himself when I was in school.
I do, right? And that was the talk. Like the talk was, hey, it's sad, but
he's in hell right now.
He's in hell because he killed himself, and we have no authority or no right to kill ourselves because it's God that gives life, and God can take away life, and all that is true.
Right.
But like nowhere in Scripture does it say, if you kill yourself, it's a mortal sin, and there is no hope for redemption for you, and whatever. Right. So.
No.
But like I said, right, hand in hand with that was also the fact that, if you're a Christian, then Christians don't get depressed.
Right.
Christians don't have struggles with depression
And
or
shouldn't have those thoughts.
or any other, mortal issues or mental issues, right? So if you're a Christian and you have like thoughts of suicide or whatever, then you're not a real Christian.
Right.
If you suffer from depression or if you struggle with depression as a Christian, then you're not a real Christian, because Christians don't struggle with depression.
Right.
Right. Which was horrible for me growing up, and even for me right now, because it's still something that I pray about, because it's still something that I struggle with.
Right.
Full transparency. It's still something that I struggle with. I struggle with depression a lot. Right. And it's something that I fall on my face on. Right. If anything, and I hate doing this, right? I hate doing this, but let's say that that's my thorn, right? I struggle with depression.
Okay.
And I pray about it, and I talk to God about it, right? But this is very important, and it's in one of our points. But I am blessed and lucky enough to have people around me that I trust, that I can text, or I can call up or just tell them, hey, yo, Kenito, Juice, Angel, right? I'm really not winning this battle with depression that I'm in, and I really need you guys to help pray for me,
Right.
Lift me up, come to the house quick because I'm home alone and blah blah blah, like stuff like that. And not a lot of people do that because of this stigma, right? Because the stigma with suicide, right? And the fact that most churches that I know of,
Right.
in my
And
experience,
this is a kind of a general statement, based on our experience.
correct,
And that is most churches don't really seem to tackle this topic, especially from the pulpit, about suicide, about depression. We love to tackle, living blessed lives, right? We're ready to tackle that. Sometimes, some places are ready to tackle poverty. You shouldn't be poor. You should be victorious. But not much on, hey, what happens if you are in the depths of just this inner darkness? What do you do then? How do you get out of it? Or B, how do you learn to, in a way, accept that you're in this period, and then how to maneuver in that and from that, so that you don't end up doing something that, might temporarily, well, not temporarily, it might, might make you feel better at the moment for eternity, but then you end up, leaving behind broken people that, you end up breaking people, right? You end up leaving behind broken people, or more, or even more broken, I guess, right? Because now they have to deal with the consequence of what,
or the aftermath,
right, of what has happened.
right? And it's sad though, right? Because it's like you said, there's a lot of talk on prosperity, talk about spiritual blessings or whatever, but there's hardly ever, or in my experience, there's never any conversations or any sermons on like the struggle with depression, the struggle with the things of this world that sway you, that push you out, right? Like, and especially, and I could see the struggle or the reason of men my age that commit suicide, right? Because
Correct.
Like loss of work, marriage in trouble, kids wilding out, or you not feeling like you are enough to provide for your children, your family, your home, whatever, right? All these turmoils that we struggle with.
Yeah, I mean, being made to feel less than.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny because really a lot of some struggles are very specific, right? So like the loss of a job, right? That's more of a grown up,
yes,
type of struggle than say a kid,
right?
right? But not feeling like you belong. We all struggle with that. No matter, it's like a pick the oldest person to the youngest person.
Yeah.
Right. Well, except for Sonia, because she just doesn't realize that that's something that she should struggle with. People wilding out, with your spouse wilding out, your parents wilding out, your parents yelling at you, your spouse yelling. I mean, they're different, but some of the underlying feelings are similar.
Right. Like the feeling that you don't belong, the feeling that you're not enough.
Yeah.
Right. That you're not loved. Right. That you're not connecting.
Right.
Right. With community, with people. Right. These are all things that, and you're right. It's across the board. Right. It's across the board. It's not a man issue or a woman issue. Right. It's just it's something that falls across the board. And I think that the church in general has a responsibility to speak about these things so that these people who feel alone will know that they're not alone.
Right.
Right. These people who know, and they hear that God is with you in your victories can also know that God is with you in your despair.
Correct.
Right? God is with you in your low points.
Right.
And he's there mighty to save. Right. He's there as, more than a conqueror. Right. Overly and abundantly. Right. It's not just, at the high moments, high five God, right? But at the low moments,
correct,
God is there and he's there to save. And the other thing now, recently, with this boom in social media,
right,
and like cyberbullying, right, which it's not something that we had problems with as kids, right? For us, the bully was physical; he was in our faces,
right,
and
he was there,
right, and in our times, right, he was there, and you fought. Right. You fought and then you became friends. Right. It's funny. It's funny. Like I hear that a lot and I say it a lot, but that was the honest truth.
Or you got in each other's faces and they backed down.
Mm-hmm.
You still weren't friends, but they were like, okay, I can't mess with this guy. Yeah, we didn't follow our bullies didn't follow us home.
Yeah.
Like in today's society.
Or create stories, imaginary stories and whatever that just kept on or
create profiles on Facebook,
right,
or all kinds of crazy stuff.
Photo edits like that, just like crazy, or memes, right? So that has become a giant factor in teen and I guess prepubescent suicides,
right, and depression and all that kind of stuff,
all that stuff, and it's something that's funny because something that I saw on TV just the other day, and like it's real, right? It made that real, and even some of my nieces would get bullied on Instagram, and I'm just like, yo, close that account. Like you don't need to listen to that. That's not real life. Shut your Instagram account. Like you don't need an Instagram account to live, right? Shut it down. You shut them down. That's not real life.
Yeah, or don't be friends with them. Like unfollow them so they can't comment on your Instagram.
Make it right. Unfollow them and make it private.
Make it private.
Right?
Yeah.
There are things that you can do. But the 4 points, right? Is it 4?
According to my numbering,
right.
Yes, it is.
Right. 4 points.
My chicken
right?
scratch
is number 1. What we would like to see across the board, and I'm taking these to heart as a church planter, especially as a church planter that that has to pray for God to give him life and light with his struggle with depression, right? That the church as a whole, and I mean this as a church institution, as far as Church of God, whatever in Christ, fellowship,
right? All cross denominations,
right? All that stuff, and church
and
as
non-denominational,
and non-denominational, and the church body as individuals, as us being the church, right? We need to. I opened the wrong thing. Be more open about these discussions.
Correct.
Right. We need to discuss these more. We need to, from the pulpit and within our
small groups,
life groups, right?
Yeah.
We need to be more open about these things, right? And be open to conversation.
Correct. And conversations where you listen. Not conversations, and that might have been number 3 or 4 or whatever. But let's go ahead and kind of combine
do whatever
them.
we want.
But let's but have conversations where we listen and then we ask. So we go, so what's going on? Oh, okay. How can I help?
Right.
Right. Not because this is something that all of us are guilty of, right? So this isn't even this is a shot at us, right? Because we're guilty of this, right? Not a what's going on. Oh, well, here's what you need to do, right? It's funny. Having strong personalities, we tend to do that. That's what strong personalities tend to do. That we tend to want to offer solutions, and then when they're like, "I just needed somebody," well, you say, "No, you came with a problem." Especially men, right? Men are like that too, right? Whoa, you got a problem.
Nope.
I'm gonna help you solve it.
I'm gonna fix it.
Right? I'm gonna help you solve it. Listen to Now, granted, I'm right 99% of the time, but that's besides the point. But not have that response, and that's something I've been working on, and I fail at it more than I succeed. But it's that idea of like, okay, you're telling me a problem, you're telling me an issue. What's going on? Why are you depressed? Why do you feel depressed? Why do you feel worthless or like no one loves you or whatever?
Yeah, sometimes the best thing you can do is listen.
Right. And then when it's done, go, okay, well, let me ask you this. How can I help?
Right.
Instead of, okay, well, here's what you need to do.
Right. Or how,
don't be depressed.
How can
Jesus
I pray?
loves you.
How can I pray for you? Don't be like,
Right.
well,
you should
if you the joy of the Lord is your strength.
Right.
So instead of being depressed, you need to find some more joy.
Or as I've been told, why are you depressed? You have this, that, or the other. And I'm like,
right? Even
but I don't have this other stuff. Ah! Because that's how our mind works.
Right? Even David, right? David in Psalm 40, right? He said, "Why are you downcast? Right? Why are you downcast, oh my soul? Why have you become so disturbed within me?" Right? That's depression, right? That's depression, right? So,
granted, that might have been written when he was being chased by Saul.
No, he was being chased by somebody.
His psalms when he was being chased by Saul are very depressing,
right? But the deal is that it's a real thing. It's a real thing,
correct?
And sometimes, right? Yes, we have to be open to having these discussions, having the people who are struggling and suffering through these things to not feel that they have to hide it, right? Or struggle with it alone,
right? And that's the biggest thing.
And again, sometimes the best thing that you can do is just listen. Just listen to their struggles, listen to their problems, and pray with them, right?
Yeah.
And pray with them, and not pray with them. Oh God, take away his depression. Take away, just pray with them. Be a brother, be a sister, right? Sometimes that will mean the world, right? Because again, full transparency. Like I contemplated suicide, and and I my close friend Alex, who's now a missionary and a pastor out in the Dominican Republic, he however he figured it out, or God revealed it to him, right? Like he pulled me aside in our office in New York, and he was like, "Yo, talk to me. What's up? What's going on?" Right? And like I poured out my heart, and no Jesus this, no Jesus that, right? Like he cried with me and he prayed over me, and it wasn't like, "God, Lord, kill this depression in him." Like he just prayed over me.
The spirit of depression, remember?
So I just watch over my brother, let him know that I love him, and it killed every suicidal thought within me was killed that day. Right. It's funny playing words, right? Number two, and this one probably should have been number one because it's very important, and I only at Vineyard have I seen this.
Yes.
Right? In all the churches that I've been a part of, whether in leadership or just as a member, I have never seen this in any church but Vineyard, and I took advantage of it too, right? But okay, no, number three, but now it's number two. Embrace licensed biblical counseling.
Yes.
Right. I feel that outside of the pastor, because the pastor is supposed to be seen as a counselor or someone that you can go talk to, but I feel that every church should have at least one licensed counselor.
Well, I mean, some of them are too small for that. Or
Connected to
or
some,
connected,
or connected to one.
to an organization where you can get that counseling. That's the big thing, is being able to get connected to it. Because listen, pastors, they get in seminary, pastors get some counseling training, but they don't really get like that in depth. Went to school for counseling, went to school for therapy, teaching. Kind of in depth teaching.
Right, so it's like, there are people who can do edits real quick, right? And it's kind of cool. But then you got people like me who went to school and know the ins and outs of like Photoshop,
right,
and Illustrator, and who can really get in depth and like create something.
Right. I can get a template and I can put some words on it, and that's my design. And that's counseling. That's like the extent of some counseling that pastors get.
Yes.
And it's not a thing where it's like downing them. My dad, I was already in high school, whatever, when my dad started going to seminary, and I got to see some of those things. And it was like, yeah, listen, a lot of their stuff is spent on theology and doctrine, whatever. And then there's like a small section on, okay, here's how to counsel church members. But it's not that, if that church member comes to you and they're like, oh, I've got these deep suicidal tendencies, then that needs to go to somebody
Correct.
that is equipped. And
Correct.
so churches need to be able to funnel
And
their members to someone or an organization.
If there's no one in the church, right? Like, Vineyard was lucky enough to have Karen.
Yeah.
Right. And we both.
They were lucky enough to have a member that's what she did.
That's what she did. Right. And we both.
Oh, yeah. Benefited from her.
I was trying to find the word. Right. But if there isn't one in your church, then a church should at least be connected to an organization or something or somebody.
Or find the big church in your area. Find the big Baptist church or the big Methodist church or whatever, and because they usually, like Mount Perrin has the counseling services.
Right.
Find that big church.
Or you find I found one that's close to my house.
Right.
Right. Who he's a counselor, fully licensed and fully faith based.
Google Christian counseling. Yeah.
And not only that, but like I found out that he's one of the counselors on call for like Junie School.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that was dope to find out, that they're working that he works in like in the secular schools, not just like the Christian schools.
Right.
And we have to reject the teaching of the fact that if you commit suicide or those that commit suicide go straight to hell. Right.
Correct.
Right.
That doesn't help your depression.
Right. For the Spanish churches, tenemos que rechazar. La enseñanza que si uno se suicida,
right? Si uno se mata a ellos mismos,
right? Que van a ir directamente al infierno, porque
eso
no
es
bíblico, eso no es algo que enseña la Biblia.
Ni la en inglés ni la en español. La de otro idioma no sé.
And no translation, right?
No translation.
None of the translation, not the NIV, not the NLT, none of it, right? And we want to like leave some scriptures for anyone who's if you're listening and this is something that you're struggling with, right? I want to leave you some truths from the Bible, right? So Psalm 34:18 teaches that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and that he rescues those who are crushed in spirit, right? Because a lot of times these suicidal thoughts come from a feeling of being alone.
Correct.
Right? Being alone, a feeling that
worthlessness,
that no one loves you, no one can help you, right? And that you're beyond reach.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's
either because and that's because that's what you're hearing from people outside your home. It could be things you're hearing from people in your home. Those are the things that those things that people try to feed into us, and we have to as Christians, we should always look to the Word. And I think looking at Psalms is always when I feel bad, down and depressed, Psalms is always the best because you get to read a God that's gone through it. We got to remember, when you feel this, you're broken, we have to remind ourselves somehow, right, that God is with us in that. And what was the other one you're going to read? Romans.
Romans 8, 37 through 39, right? Which reads, what is that? Okay, he's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Which reads, no, despite all these things, overwhelming victory is ours through Christ who loved us, right? And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from his love. Death can't and life can't. The angels can't and the demons can't. Our fears for today, our worries about tomorrow, and even the powers of hell can't keep God's love away. Whether we are high above the sky or in the deepest ocean, nothing in all creation will ever be able to separate us from the love of God that is revealed in Christ Jesus our Lord, right? And that's for I'm looking for something that I wrote as so I don't forget. And that's something that when we're struggling with
Right.
with that feeling of not being loved and not being wanted or not feeling important, then we can turn to these scriptures and know that the Lord is near the brokenhearted, right? And that there is nothing that is told to us, nothing that nothing that we have done, nothing that we are about to do, nothing that we think, nothing that we say, nothing ever, nothing at all ever created or ever imagined can separate us from the love of God, right? God loves us fully and unconditionally, and no one and nothing can change his mind on how much he loves you.
Correct.
Right? So, and this is what I wrote preparing for this, right? Our security isn't found in what the culture, society, or our peers say or think of us, right? It's found in the fact that there's nothing that we can say or do that can ever separate us from the love of God, right? Nothing. And that's the thing, because my struggle with depression was that I had done so much after being raised in the church, right? I had done so much that I was far from God's reach, that I was far from his love, that there is no way that he can still love me after all the dirt and all the stupid stuff that I had done, right? So why not kill myself? If I'm far from God's reach, completely rejected from his love, I'm going to hell anyway, so why not just stop it now, and then I can stop all the pain that I'm causing to myself and to everybody around me. Right. Those are my thoughts. Because as much Bible as I knew, these verses did not come to mind. Right. So anyone that's listening, if you're struggling with depression, with loneliness, with feelings of rejection, being unloved, remember that God is near the brokenhearted. God is near the brokenhearted. He is near you. He is near you. And also know that nothing can take place. There is nothing you can do, nothing that you can say or can be done or said to you that will ever separate you from the love of God that is revealed to us in Christ Jesus.
Boom. That's it. That's all that needs to be said. So yeah, just encourage you guys to, if you're going through kind of that depression where you do get those suicidal thoughts, definitely find there's hotline numbers, there's people you can call, find someone to talk to, favorite teacher, favorite clergy person, find someone to talk to. Don't internalize it and shut yourself away, which is that's the easy thing to do. It's just to shut yourself away. Don't do that. For fellow believers and anyone else that's listening, pay attention. That's all. We need to pay attention to those around us, and
we
are
our brother's keeper.
And ask people, hey, what's going on, and be ready to listen, and be ready just to listen and not say a word until the person is able to unload their heart to you, and then the only thing you need to say is, "How can I help?"
And that's it. How can I pray?
How can I help? So,
and on This Is Our Cry .com with the podcast and all, we're gonna post up the suicide hotline.
Yeah,
we're gonna post up. I forget the name of the organization right now, but it's a large organization nationwide, and they have offices in all the major cities where
Okay.
you can just call or you can just go, right? And they connect to churches, so you can call this place and have somebody come to the church and give talks, give sessions, right, in your church, for the pastors or all the leaders or whoever that's listening.
Yeah. So let's, as believers, let's not be afraid to talk about this. As the church, let's not be afraid to talk about this. And then let's be diligent in showing love to those that, are struggling with this, not judging or condemning, and just being aware. I think that's the key thing. So, hey guys, we are done. We will see you guys next week. And as always, this is Joaquin.
I'm still Jay.
And this is the Overflow Podcast.
Thanks for listening. Remember to head on over to thisisoutcry.com for more content. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, or Stitcher.